Hello, my name is Justin Carbonell. Thank you for reading my article on wide moats and how to identify companies with wide moats quantitatively. What I thought I'd do in this video is show you a few different features on Validea that can help investors determine if a company has a protective moat around its business and how this concept can then be coupled with other fundamental and value investing criteria. As I mentioned in the article, the model that best captures the concept of wide moat investing is our Warren Buffett-based strategy, which is based on the book Buffettology. While there are possibly hundreds of books written about Buffett and his investment approach, Buffettology is the one that offered a strategy that was quantifiable and that could be extracted and computerized. As you may or may not know, early in his investing career, Buffett was a deep value investor, looking to buy the cheapest stocks in the market. This was largely influenced by Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing. However, over time, Buffett's style of investing evolved from a diehard value investor to more of a blue chip and high quality methodology that also incorporated value. This is the approach we've tried to capture here at Validea. All right, let's walk through Validea's Buffett model to see how the concepts of wide moat investing can be coupled with other fundamental factors in analyzing securities. Let's use Apple as an example. This is not an endorsement or recommendation for Apple, but rather an example that showcases what goes into our Buffett model and how it looks at companies. One thing worth mentioning here is that our Buffett model first rated Apple 100% in October of 2014. It wasn't until February of 2017 that it was announced that Buffett was building a major position in the company. As you may know, Apple is now Berkshire Hathaway's largest holding. Buffett had traditionally shied away from technology companies, mainly because he didn't understand their business models and he believed their earnings were potentially too volatile. Obviously, with Apple, he was able to overcome these concerns, and he now views the business as one that he believes will be worth much more over time. Now let's step into the Buffett model using our Guru Analysis tool. As you scroll down the page, you will see a summary report card. All this is showing you for the model you're looking at is if the company passes or fails the model's main criteria. Scrolling down, we will see a detailed analysis. In this section, you will see statements that explain in more detail each of the investment criteria and why they are important. Also, each statement is variabilized in that the bold financial and fundamental data is always specific to the company you're looking at and analyzing. So using Apple, the first criteria looks at 10 years worth of earnings to see that earnings are predictable. Sometimes finding 10 years worth of earnings on the internet is actually quite hard. While in the Valideas system, we have this data for thousands of companies. We then move down to the return on equity and return on capital criteria. As I mentioned in the article, these are how the strategy tries to uncover whether or not the firm has long-term profitability levels that are above average, and it tries to indicate whether or not there's a protective moat around the business. Apple passes all three of these very important criteria. The next criteria is looking at free cash flow. We look at free cash flow per share, which is an indication of whether or not the company is generating more cash than it's consuming. This is important to Buffett. The model then likes to look at retained earnings and make sure that the company is productive in using those retained earnings. So what this criteria is doing is taking the total increase of retained earnings over the past 10 years and comparing it to the gain in earnings per share over that same time period. In this case, Apple has shown it can earn a 21% return on the earnings the company has kept or retained. Buybacks are important, and Buffett discussed this in his 2018 letter to shareholders. Shares outstanding for Apple have been declining over the past 5 years. So that's the first part of the investment analysis using our Buffett model. The next step is to try to determine and estimate the expected return on the stock. For this, we are using two different calculations, the ROE and the EPS method. I encourage you to dive in and read more about these various methods as they're quite complex, and I'm not going to go into them in detail in this video. But really, both are trying to get at the same answer. Is the stock's expected return enough to satisfy us as an investor? Does it meet the hurdle rate we're looking for? In Buffett's case, and the way we've captured it in the model, the very best stocks are the ones that can return at least 15% a year, but the strategy does pass stocks that have the potential to generate a 12% annualized return or higher. Now I'm going to show you two ways you can use Validea's Guru Stock Screener to find stocks with wide moat-like characteristics. The first is just screening for stocks that meet the Warren Buffett-based strategy. To do this, in the drop-down, we can select Warren Buffett, and then we can select strong or some interest to find stocks that meet at least 80% of the criteria outlined in the Buffett model. As you can see, it's a list of stocks, many names you'll be familiar with, that meet most of the strategy's fundamental tests. Alternatively, we can look for stocks that pass one or many of our guru strategies. So what we're doing here is we're looking for stocks that pass at least 3 different guru models simultaneously. In addition, we can add in long-term return on equity and return on capital criteria. So what we're doing here is we're looking for stocks that may not pass all of the Buffett model. Maybe they pass most of the criteria in other models or multiple models. But we're also adding in our own long-term return on equity and return on capital criteria to potentially uncover firms that have wide moat-like characteristics and that meet the fundamental tests of many other strategies on Validea. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about the Validea investing system, any of the models we run here, anything that we've written about in our original research pieces, please feel free to email us at info@validea.com or call us 860-730-3373. Thanks again.